Hello everyone, welcome to the Narc Survivor YouTube channel. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about a very different topic, although at the same time it can also tie into narcissists as well. In this one, I'm going to be giving you 5 signs that you are a chosen one. And just to summarize what a chosen one is, a chosen one is someone who feels a very deep connection with God, the universe, or a higher power. And this is something that you've likely experienced your entire life. But it may have taken a while until you finally realized it. The reason why is because I believe that as chosen ones, we are often quite humble. We don't really want to believe that we are that special, where we have been picked out of billions of people in this world, where we have been chosen. So you may have spent a lot of your life in denial, as I did. But if you look back, there's just so many things, so many patterns, so many signs that reveal to you and remind you that yes, you are chosen. And it's not just in your mind. It is actually a real connection that you have. As you may have noticed by being around other people, that not everyone has this connection. So I'm going to give you 5 signs that you are a chosen one. And if this video resonates with you, please give it a thumbs up down below so that other chosen ones will see it, and then it can validate their experience as well. So the first sign, if you are a chosen one, you cannot be fake. Other people will try to put you in a box. They will try to make you into who they want you to be. And maybe for a short period of time, you might try to go along with it. You might try to fit in with their demands and expectations. But no matter what you do, something always pulls you back. And for a while, it's like you didn't know what it was. But in fact, what that is it is this spiritual connection that you have with whatever it is that you believe in, whether it is God, the universe, or another higher power. So no matter what you do, you just can't be fake. And you will try to remain authentic no matter what you are facing and at all costs, because you just can't be fake. It feels very uncomfortable to you. And the second sign that you are a chosen one, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this, you are the scapegoat child of your entire family. And you may have tried to connect or relate to your other family members, but it's like no matter what you do, you just can't fit in. You always feel like you're being left out. And this is actually a very important part of your spiritual journey, because the spiritual growth and a spiritual awakening, it requires isolation. I must have spent about 3 years alone, without any relationships, without any close friends. And only then did I then begin to feel this intense spiritual connection. I had an awakening. And from that point on, my energy completely shifted. Before that, I didn't have much energy. But then once I had this awakening from this period of isolation, I completely changed as a person. I became almost unrecognizable. I became a vegan. I gave up eating meat, fish, and dairy products. I also gave up alcohol, smoking, recreational drugs, energy drinks, and coffee. And that was also the time back in 2018 when I began this YouTube channel, following my spiritual awakening. And then it amounted to what it is today, with over 170,000 subscribers and over 40 million views. So of course, for me, it just reminds me that yes, I am a chosen one, and I have this spiritual connection to God. And this is something that I felt my entire life. From the very beginning, I felt that I was born to be a leader. And I'm sure many of you can resonate with this as a scapegoat child. You feel like you have this intuition that other people do not have. As though you know things that other people do not know. And to you, it just comes naturally. But for you to try to explain these things to other people, it's like no matter what you do, it never gets through. They can never understand you. And of course, that is how you end up being scapegoated, because they cannot understand you. But I do believe, and if you look back throughout my videos on this channel, especially my live videos, there are times where I even amaze myself when I go deep into certain topics. And sometimes I just wonder to myself, where am I even getting this information? As though it's being channeled through me by a higher power. So that is the second sign that you are a chosen one. You will be scapegoated by your family. And no matter what you do, it's like you can never fit in. And the third sign is that you are righteous. You look around at this world today, and there's just so many things going on. You look at the news, there's all of these wars. There's always something happening. There's always something negative. And it's like everyone around you, they're just drowning themselves with alcohol, drugs, partying and going to clubs. It's like they're doing everything they possibly can to escape from reality. They're going down the wrong path in life. But as for you, as a chosen one, you are righteous. You follow the correct path no matter what. No matter what everyone else is doing. If everyone else is going this way, you're going the opposite way. You're going in the opposite direction. Because again, this comes back to your intuition. And this was ingrained in you as a child. You know that you are meant for a higher purpose. You feel connected to source energy. So again, this just comes naturally to you. You already know what is right and what is wrong. You already know exactly what you are supposed to do. It's like you don't even need anyone to come to you and tell you what is right or what is your purpose. You just have this knowing. It just feels right. And you can't explain it. But this is just another sign that yes, in fact, you are a chosen one. And the fourth sign that you are a chosen one is that you are hated by a lot of people. And this could be something where you've experienced a lot of interactions or relationships with narcissists in your life. And it's like no matter what you do, you just keep on running into another one. And they all end up hating you. You may be hated by your family, people in your workplace, your neighbors. You may be the victim of a smear campaign or a target of gang stalking. Maybe your entire community is against you. This is a very clear sign that you are a chosen one. We've only got to look back at all of the prophets of God. Regardless of what religion you believe in, they all experienced the same thing. And all they were doing is following a righteous path. And yet everyone turned against them. Everyone hated them. I was born a Christian, but I do not currently practice that faith. But of course, I believe in Jesus. I believe he was a man, he did exist. And just look at what they did to him. He confronted people who were gambling in the church. And because of that, he was then crucified, hung to a cross. As far as we know, all of these people turned against him. And this is just a typical thing, as I speak of, with narcissists. You look back at all of these stories of the prophets, and now you link it with this knowledge and information that we have on narcissistic abuse today, thousands of years later. And you look back and you can see, you can make that link, that what these prophets did, for them just following a righteous path in life, it quite clearly caused a narcissistic injury. It injured these people's pride and arrogance, which, as we know, pride and arrogance are very sinful attitudes to have. We should all be humble and modest. We should be good listeners instead of just thinking that we know it all and there's nothing for us to change. But these people who were enemies of the prophets, they thought they knew it all. They thought they had it all figured out and they don't have to answer to anyone. They can gamble in the church. They can do whatever they want. And anyone who threatens their image, confronts them or threatens to expose them, this is what happens. This is what has always happened to the chosen ones. They become targets of gang stalking, community harassment. And the irony is that if you look at who these targets are, they're always the scapegoats. They have a very powerful intuition. And not only that, but they're very empathic. They care about the world, about the environment. They care about people. They care about animals. They care about children. And it's just always the same thing. It's always been the same. And just that link for us chosen ones who are victims, who are targets in many different situations. And a lot of people hate us, often for no apparent reason. Yes, this is a clear sign that you are a chosen one. If this video is resonating with you, please do give it a thumbs up down below. It will help the YouTube algorithm, and then other chosen ones will see it, and it can validate their experience as well. But yes, on to the fifth reason, fifth sign rather, that you are a chosen one. You are a chosen one if life is constantly testing you. It's like no matter what you do, you try your best to organize everything in your life, to make everything perfect, to make everything right. You do the best that you can. You try to be comfortable in your life, in this world. But it's like no matter what you do, something is always going wrong. It's like something is always testing you. And believe it or not, but in some situations, definitely not all, but in some, God is using other people as a means to test your strength of character. Thank you for the donation, Viva Survivor. But yes, that's what God is doing a lot of times. And in the beginning, you may characterize it as other experiences where it just seemed like the devil is out to get you. But that is not always the case. Sometimes people will be out to get you no matter what. You will be hated as a chosen one. But at the same time, God will use these experiences to test you and to build your character. I can't even tell you how many experiences I've been through in my life. Things that brought me down. Things that held me back. But today, at this point in time, I look back and I can honestly say that now I am wiser, I'm more knowledgeable, I have more experience than I ever did in my life. And not only that, but at this point, I'm more motivated, more passionate, and I'm sure it shows in my videos. I'm more disciplined than I've ever been in my life. I'm more focused and set on my purpose. And I look back, and if I'm to question would I have got this far in my experience, in gaining this wisdom, this knowledge, being this disciplined and motivated, would I have achieved this without all of those experiences? And of course, the answer is no. If I was to pick out a particular negative or traumatic experience, especially those that occurred before I had my awakening and started this YouTube channel, if I was to do that, my life would have gone down a very different path. I would not be the same person that you see today. I would not be Narc Survivor. I would not have started this channel. So to me, That's just another sign. For it to bring me this far in life, to where I've been able to inspire and motivate millions of people around the world. When if I hadn't have had certain experiences in the past, this never would have happened. Of course, I do look back. And yes, I feel sadness. It's not always such a good feeling when I look back at the things that I've had to go through, especially certain things in my childhood. Of course, there were times when I'd look back and I'd wonder, why did I have to go through that? And of course, certain experiences, it affected my self-worth, my self-esteem, made me feel like I could never be good enough. But then at times, that is what gave me that passion, that drive, that motivation to show to myself that those people who mistreated me, those people who wronged me, they were wrong. And I am so much greater than what they led me to believe. So these tests that you have experienced in your life, yes, you will have these ups and downs. At times it may feel like a roller coaster. There's all of these ups and downs, these twists and turns. Sometimes you don't know where your life is going. But as I said, it's also like you have this intuition. Life seems a certain way on the outside, but inside you have this vision. It's like you know where you're supposed to be. You know what you're supposed to do. And yet also, you know that even if things don't work out in the way that you'd like them to, that is not always the most important part. It's not about the destination or the goal. It is the journey. It's the progress that you make along the way. As long as you're making a certain amount of progress, as long as you know that you tried, you did your best. So while life may test you, and yes, you may experience some roadblocks, you can look back and see that you made a certain amount of progress. Even if things didn't turn out in the way that you expected them to. You can look back and see that you made things happen. You made miracles. Despite all of these tests that life gave to you. And that is miraculous in itself. Especially those of us who are victims of narcissists, victims of smear campaigns or gang stalking. I mean, you've just got to look at it like this. If most people were in your position, would they have achieved even a fraction of what you have? Most people may not have achieved even a fraction of that, or they haven't achieved even a fraction of that, even though they may not have dealt with any narcissists. They may have all of their family support. They're not the scapegoat child. They're not dealing with any smear campaigns or gang stalking. And yet they haven't even experienced a fraction of your success. And if that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. I myself, I've experienced many roadblocks in my life. And throughout my life, I have had many near-death experiences. Right from the beginning of my life. And I remember I heard stories from my family about certain things that happened to me when I was at such a young age that I don't even have memories of these events. But beginning when I was just 3 months old, I was a baby. I was at the circus with my family. My mother was holding me in her arms. And at the circus, she tripped over something on the floor. And me, as a 3 months old baby, I was dropped on the floor from her arms, and I landed on my head. And just imagine, even for a fully grown adult, if we fell to the floor and landed flat on the front of our heads, who knows what that could have done to us. So just imagine that for a 3-month-old baby. Of course, I was rushed to hospital. And you may not have noticed, even in all of my live videos, but if you look closely at my forehead, I still have the scar. Funny enough, it is a lightning bolt shaped scar. Very similar to Harry Potter. Although, of course, this happened about 20 years before the Harry Potter books were written. And aside from that, there were many other near-death experiences as well, especially in my childhood. Another crazy one that I was told, I clearly experienced a lot of neglect in my childhood. But there was another event where I was very young. I must have been 2 years old, maybe younger. I wasn't even old enough to walk. And the front door of the house was left open. This is a story I was told by my mother many years ago. But the front door was left open of the home, and no one was watching me. I was very young, maybe 1 or 2 years old. And somehow I crawled out of the house, out of the front door. And just imagine, this is very strange for a young child to even be able to do that. I could have crawled anywhere in the house, but I crawled out of the front door and down the entire driveway. And this driveway was about 20 or 30 meters long. And after that, I then crawled to the other side of a main road where cars are going up and down all of the time. Somehow, I didn't get hit by a car. I managed to crawl to the other side. And just imagine this for a baby of such a young age to be able to do that. Of course, once I got to the other side, my family realized that I was not in the home. And then they ran across the road and got me. And there was another event, again, when I was a baby. I was in the baby seat in the car. I was probably only a few months old. I was strapped to the seat. It was about 30 degrees outside, 30 degrees Celsius. So it was very hot. And again, my mother left me in the car. She forgot I was there. All of the windows were closed. And I was left there for quite some time. And then a friend of our family, he saw me in the car and he could see through the window, because of course this is back in the early 1990s. So windows weren't even tinted back then as well, which made it even hotter in the car. And he could see that my face was bright red. And he panicked so much. He felt as though there wasn't even enough time to go and call my family. And instead he smashed the window just to try to get me out. Luckily, obviously I survived. And I'm fine now. But yeah, these are just 3 events, 3 near-death experiences of many throughout my life. And this really just goes back to what I said about how life tests us. Being a chosen one, that does not mean that our life is perfect and everything is smooth. In fact, it's quite the opposite. You may look at everyone else and it may seem like they're living a comfortable life. But for us, no matter how much we try to make things comfortable, it never works out that way. Because our growth, our spiritual development does not take place in our comfort zone. In fact, it is very uncomfortable. At times, it may even be a traumatic experience. And that is why many victims of narcissists follow in the relationship. And I've noticed this just looking at other coaches and therapists on YouTube, following their relationship with a narcissist. It's like they all have this spiritual awakening, just as I did, which typically occurs in isolation. And of course, that does not take away the blame or justify the narcissist's actions. But I do believe that the bad things that people do in this world, God does something to where he allows it to act in support of our spiritual growth. So these are 5 signs that you are a chosen one. And I'm sure many of you already know that you are a chosen one. You may have already known before you even watched this video. Because, like myself, your entire life you may have felt this connection, this spiritual bond with something greater and higher than yourself. You may have had this intuition. And the crazy thing is, it's like when everyone is hating on you and they're envious and jealous, all of these people turn against you. Some people may just conform. They may just think, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I made a mistake. They may turn against their own intuition. Another thing that we all have in common as chosen ones, because we didn't do that. I mean, yes, there may have been a time when we felt shame, we blamed ourselves. I mean, chosen ones are empathic. So yes, we may do that as well. But in the end, we always come back to ourselves. We listen to that inner voice. And I know that you all listen to your inner voice. Because if you didn't, you would never have found this community. So that is how I know that you have this intuition. You have this inner voice, this faith in something greater, in something more. Because if you did not have that, you would have remained stuck with the narcissist. You would have been highly susceptible to their gaslighting. And you would never have trusted yourself and your own intuition. So just a final message for you to consider, for you to think about. And it's really an amazing thing how we do manage to establish these communities. But before I finish this video as well, I would like to clarify that being a chosen one, it's not about having this spiritual ego where we're more important than everyone else. We're special, we're greater. It's not about that at all. We are different. We have a different path to other people. And it does not mean that we just shut ourselves off from everyone. We hate everyone else, and it's this us versus them mentality. It's not about that at all. Being a chosen one, it's not about being narcissistic. In fact, it is the opposite. We should tune in to our empathy. And that is something that I do myself. And I would like to serve as an example, as a role model to other chosen ones. And this is something that I've always done. Although it was only the last 4 years when I did become a vegan, because of my love for animals. And 6 years ago, I adopted Nala when she was 8 weeks old. Which was just another way, another opportunity for me to express my love for life and to share this empathy and compassion that I have, because I believe that that is something we must do as chosen ones. As chosen ones, we should care about other people, animals, the world and the environment more than anyone else. That is a duty that we have as chosen ones. So that is something that we must do. But at the same time, that does not mean that we just have no boundaries and we let other people do whatever they want to us and treat us however they like. Being a chosen one is also about self-love and self-care. And that is very important. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Because that is actually the most selfless thing you can do. When you fill up your own cup, you have more to give to other people. If you're drained and you've given nothing to yourself, you've expected nothing from anyone else, and you're just giving everything you have away to them, that is not selfless. That is actually very selfish behavior. And it will cause us to turn inwards instead of sharing our love with this world and the environment. So some other key points to consider. This is what I believe being a chosen one is all about. But of course, it is somewhat open to interpretation as well. And I would love to hear from you about your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments. Do you believe that you are a chosen one? And what caused you to have this belief? What experiences have you had in your life? And what does your intuition tell you to do? And is this something that you've experienced throughout your entire life, or following a spiritual awakening? I'd love to hear from you down below in the comments. I do read the comments every day. And you can show your support by giving this video a thumbs up down below so that other chosen ones will see this message as well. And you can also donate by giving a super thanks in the comments, or by going to my PayPal. It's paypal.me/Narc Survivor. And if you'd like to book a one-on-one with me, you can go to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And also check out my Instagram as well. It's Narc Survivor YouTube and Instagram. Follow me on there, send me a message. and you can check out new pictures and videos of my travels every day on there. I'd just like to thank you all for watching. I know this is quite a different video to what I normally post, but it's something that really means something to me and something that I feel like I've resonated with my entire life, especially from certain experiences that I had as a child. And I would like to talk more about that in future videos as well. So thank you all for watching. There will be more videos on Chosen Ones very soon. So hit that subscribe button down below and click the bell icon to receive the notifications. Thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you soon.